Today, let us see about the hatch command. The command equivalent of the hatch command is letter H. The hatch command enables you to fill an enclosed or selected objects with a hatch pattern or fill. So select the hatch command. After you select the hatch command, the hatch creation tab appears. This one here. The tab has 6 panels, which are boundaries panels, the pattern panel, the properties panel, the origin panel, the options panel, and the last one is the close panel. So let us start with the boundaries panel. In the boundaries panel, we have the pick point button. This button here. This button allows you to define boundary areas to be hatched by picking points inside existing objects such as circles, rectangles, polygons, and closed polylines. So in short, the object you pick must form a closed boundary around the pick point. For example, let us draw a circle and a rectangle. Now select the hatch command. As you can see, the command window prompts you to pick internal points. In this case, I'll pick the internal point of this circle. And as you can see, the circle is now filled with hatch patterns. If the selected area is not a closed boundary, then the hatch boundary definition error dialog box will appear and try to offer solutions to the problem. For example, let us draw an incomplete circle using the arc command. So select the arc here and try to draw an incomplete circle. And now select the hatch command and pick any point inside the incomplete circle. As you can see, the hatch boundary definition error dialog box has appeared. It says there might be gaps between the boundary objects, or the boundary objects might be outside of the display area. Red circles are temporarily displayed to identify possible gaps in the boundary. These circles can be removed with the redraw or regen command. So let us click close. As you can see here, between these two red circles, there is a gap. So the circle is not complete, and that's why it cannot be hatched. So let us select this. Again, on the boundaries panel, there is a select button. This button here. Click on it. The select button allows you to define a hatch boundary by selecting the objects that form the closed boundary. That is, you select the entire object. As you can see, the command window prompts you to select objects. So select this circle here and this rectangle. As you can see, the circle and the rectangle are filled with hatch patterns. We also have the remove button in the boundaries panel. This button here. This button removes from the boundary definition any of the objects that we have added previously. So select the remove button. And as you can see, the command window prompts you to select the boundaries to remove. So select on the boundary of the object that we just selected previously. As you can see here, I'm going to select the boundary of this circle. As you can see, I just selected the boundary of this circle and the hatch patterns have been removed. Now I'm going to select the boundary of this rectangle. As you can see, the hatch patterns have been removed for this rectangle as well. So click enter. Select the hatch pattern again. And now let us go to the pattern panel. This one here. The pattern panel displays the predefined hatch patterns that can be assigned when using the hatch command. These patterns are represented in the panel by showing a preview of the pattern. This preview of the patterns is called a swatch. You can scroll through the swatches by picking the up or down arrows on the right hand side of the panel. These arrows here, as you can see, if I pick the down panel there, if I click on the down arrow, the swatches change. I can also click on the up pointing arrow to change the swatches I want. Or we can just click this arrow here, this one here, to display all the swatches, and then you can use the scroll wheel of the mouse to scroll them up and down, like this. You can select any of the swatches and apply it to your objects. For example, select the solid swatch, this one here, and now apply it to the circle. Simply like that. And that is all about the pattern panel. So let us click enter and then enlarge this. Now let us go to the properties panel, this one here. In the properties panel, we have several options. The first option is the hatch type option. The hatch type option is this one here. This option specifies whether to create a predefined hatch in a user-defined hatch. For more options on the hatch type button, click the down pointing arrow at the far right hand, this one here. As you can see, several options are displayed and you can set any option that you want. Below the hatch type option is the color option, this one here is the hatch color option. The hatch color option overrides the current color with the color specified for solid fills and hatch patterns. So let us click on the hatch color option. And as you can see, a list of colors appear. Now select the red color, this one, and then select the circle area. As you can see, the hatch patterns are now red in color. So let us close the hatch and go back again. To change the color of the hatch patterns, select the hatch, then select the color of your choice. In this case, I'm going to select the yellow color and then apply. As you can see, the hatch patterns are now yellow in color. You can change it to any color that you want. For instance, the color that you want is not here in the displayed list. You can click on this option and select colors. And as you can see, the color dialog box appears here. And from this dialog box, you can select any kind of color that you want. Now again, down the hatch color option is the background color option. This option specifies the background color for the hatch patterns. So let us select the background color option, this one here. And as you can see, a list of colors is displayed here. So in this case, I'll select red as the background color. As you can see, as soon as after I select red, the background color for the hatch pattern just changed to red. So let us click enter and then let us allow this. Now I will apply the angle swatch to this triangle, to this circle. After that, I will remove the background color, change it to none. Now again, on the properties panel, we have the hatch transparency option. This one here, the hatch transparency option. This option displays the current value for the hatch transparency or accepts a value for the hatch transparency override. Now, if you position the cursor on the hatch transparency option, you can see this arrow here, it appears. You can see an arrow which points both to the front and backward appears. So you can click and hold on that arrow and then drag it to the left or to the right to change the transparency. Like this. Click and hold, then drag it to the right. As you can see, as I drag it to the right, the transparency on the hatch patterns on the circle changing. Observe the circle, see how it changes. Now we'll drag it backward. As you can see, the hatch patterns are now getting bright again, like that. You can use that whenever you want to increase or decrease the transparency of your hatch patterns. As I said, you can also enter the value of the transparency. So click on this 0 here. This 0 is the minimum value and the maximum value is 90. So in this case, let us type 80, then press enter. As you can see, the transparency of the hatch patterns here just increased. So let us type 0 again and press it to get back to the normal transparency. Now let us allow this, then erase. Let us apply the angle swatch again, and this time I will remove the yellow color, change it to the use current. After that, go to the properties panel and in the angle option, click and hold, then drag the arrow to the left and the right. And then observe that the hatch patterns is changing. The hatch angle option, this one here, just like you did with the hatch transparency, click and hold, then drag the arrow either to the right or to the left. And while you are dragging the arrow, try to observe the hatch patterns, what is happening to the hatch patterns. So I'm going to do that. As you can see, the hatch patterns are changing. the angle of the hatch pattern is changing. Now I'm dragging to the right. I'm going to drag it to the left again. Like that. The hatch patterns is changing. Now that is how you change the angle of the hatch patterns, by dragging this arrow either to the left or to the right. You can also change the angle of the hatch patterns by simply changing the value here. Now I'm going to type in 45%. As you can see, all the hatch patterns are now aligned to the 45-degree angle. So let us type 0 again. Now, below the hatch angle option is the hatch pattern scale option. This option expands or contracts a predefined or custom hatch pattern. You can change the scale of the hatch pattern by using these two arrows at the far right hand of the option. These two arrows here. Click and hold on the up pointing arrow to increase the scale. As you can see, you click and hold, the scale increases. Now click on the down pointing arrow and hold it, and observe what is happening to the hatch patterns in the circle. As you can see, the hatch patterns are diminishing. That is the hatch scale option. You can use it to increase or decrease the hatch patterns of the circle. And that is all about the properties panel. Now let us see about the origin panel. In the origin panel, we have this option here, which is called specify new origin. This option shifts the hatch pattern to align with the specified origin point. For example, let us apply the angle of hatch to this rectangle here. And now click on this down pointing arrow in the origin tab. This one here. After you click, you can see that a file out list appears with several options. Now move the cursor over each of these icons and read the description for each of these icons. For example, the first icon here is the bottom left option. It sets the hatch origin at the bottom left corner of the rectangular extension of the hatch. So let us click on that bottom left option and observe the changes in the hatch pattern of the rectangle. As you can see, I just clicked on that option and the hatch patterns in the rectangle just changed. Now I'll click on the second option, which is the bottom right, and then observe what happens to the rectangle hatch patterns. As you can see, it just changed. Now click back again to the bottom left. You can also try to experiment with all these options here to see how they work. All these options, try to experiment with them on your own time and observe how they work. So let us run this. And now let us go to the options panel. In the options panel, we have the three buttons here: the associative boundaries button, the annotated button, and the match properties button. The associative boundaries button controls whether the hatch will automatically update when you modify its boundaries. Let us draw a circle here. We already have a circle here. And now let us apply the hatch patterns to the circle. After that, click on the associative button and then close the hatch. So we will apply the hatch patterns on this circle like that. And then after that, I'm going to click on the associative, and then I'm going to close the hatch pattern. Again, let us apply the hatch patterns to this rectangle, and then click on the associative button and then close the hatch. Click on the associative and now close the hatch. So now the circle is associative and the rectangle is not associative. Now let us click on the boundary of the circle and extend the grips to get a bigger circle. So I'm going to extend these grips, one of these grips, to get a bigger circle. As you can see, upon extending the boundaries of the circle, the hatch patterns also automatically extend to the new boundary of the circle. Now let us try to extend any of the boundaries of the rectangle. As you can see, the boundary of the rectangle is extended, but the hatch patterns remain still. And that is the difference between an associative object and a non-associative object. So let us run this. So now I'll draw another circle here, and also draw another rectangle here. I'll draw one more circle and one more rectangle. Now let us see about the match properties in the option panel. This one here, match properties option in the options panel. The match properties option sets the properties of a hatch using the properties of a selected hatch object. For example, let us apply the angle hatch patterns to this rectangle here, to this small rectangle here, and then click on the match properties option, and finally click the close hatch option in the close panel. This again, select the hatch command, and now apply any other kind of the hatch pattern to a circle. In this case, I'm going to apply this option here to this circle. As you can see, the circle appears as if I applied the solid hatch option. This is because of the scale, so I'm going to change this hatch pattern scale here. And there, the option I chose appears, this option here. Now again, click on the match properties, and then click the close hatch creation option, and then select the hatch command again. Now let us apply another kind of a hatch to this rectangle here. In this case, I'm going to choose this one called box. Now let me change the angle again. And there the box hatch option is applied to the rectangle. That is how you use the match properties option. Apply several kinds of hatches to different objects. You can create even more objects and follow the same procedures to apply different kinds of hatch patterns to the objects.